Hey, what's up chat? Chadronius here. Before we get started on this review, I want to tell you guys about my Twitch channel. So I record all the video here on my Twitch channel through streams. So if you guys want to tune in, make sure to check that out. Warhammer 40k Darktide is a 4-player co-op shooter in the vein of Left 4 Dead or Deep Rock Galactic, where you must fight against unending hordes of chaos and complete your objective. Created by developer Fat Shark, who are known for their Tide games like Vermintide and Vermintide 2. So, let's get right into the meat and potatoes of this thing. As usual, we're going to be going with the pro-con list, and I'll be giving you guys my reasons why I think the way I do. This game is a beautiful game. I spent time taking in the scenery and watching the moving parts in a level with awe. An issue that I have with the level design, though, is that although the maps may look beautiful, having only 5 maps with multiple missions that take place in opposite sides of the map make the environment blend together, especially when you continuously see the same set pieces while completing different objectives. For another pro, the gameplay is amazing, and you're fighting against hordes of enemies with a variety of weapons and skills. Whether you want to be a mage slinging bolts of magic at enemies, a gunslinging sharpshooter, or if you want to be a large lad crushing his foes with the twitch of a muscle, this game's got it for you. The soundtrack for this game is also 100% certified banger. There are no real misses in this in the game's soundtrack, as they all get you in the mood to purge heretics for the God Emperor. That's pretty much it for me on the pros. It's a wonderfully crafted game that shines when it works correctly, but it's held down and marred by other aspects of the game, which we will now get into. So for cons, it's got poor performance. I currently rock an EVGA FTW 3070 Ti and an AMD R7 5800X CPU, and I get consistently below 60 FPS. I run other graphically intensive games, and I'm able to get 144 FPS at 1440p with no stuttering. But on this game, it's a slogfest when more than 15 enemies get on the screen. When you get shot at by enemies, your character stumbles around like a drunken sailor, making this game feel sluggish and unresponsive. The game also has trouble taking inputs, forcing you to make the same input multiple times in order to do anything. For instance, I was playing my Psyker, and I wanted to use my stave secondary ability, but the game wouldn't let me perform my action. This can end up with you dying to enemies, and there'd be nothing that you'd be able to do about it. The game's very unstable. This game has a few stability issues, which means that this game continues to crash, and I personally have experienced like a crash per game. But with recent updates, the rate's gone down to a crash every few games, but it's still a consistent, persistent issue that just doesn't seem to go away. So currencies are split between characters, and they're not really account-wide, so Fat Shark expects you to get on every single character to level them up without being able to use hand-me-down gear from your other classes. Previously in Vermintide 2, you were able to use curios that your previous character used in order to boost your power level in a little bit, helping you out with the grind, as that was your reward for leveling up characters to a max level. Not being able to share anything between characters slows down the pace of the game, meaning that you have to spend more time grinding up each character instead of spending the time enjoying your max level character in their full power on higher difficulty missions. If you pair that with the main way to get loot in this game, which is the requisition store that refreshes every hour, you'll be spending a lot of time playing with suboptimal builds, or with weapons that you don't want because the store didn't have any weapons that you wanted to buy at that time. No single player is available in this game. In previous games, you're able to choose your mission and select your character in offline mode, and you'd be placed into a game with other classes that you've leveled up. Furthermore, Vermintide 2, the bots would be populated with other classes that you had leveled up, and the bots would use the equipment that you gave them, and the class that you assigned to them. In this game, if you're placed in a bot lobby, all NPCs would be level 1 veterans with no gear at all, instead of pulling them from a list of characters that you've already leveled up and geared up. Leads to another issue: the feeling of lack of progression after level 30. In previous games, hitting level 30 wasn't the end of the game, and the main focus of the game was going through the missions over and over again to get better loot and continue doing harder and harder difficulty. Each level completed, you gain a chest that you're able to upgrade for better loot at the end of each level in Vermintide 2. And Vermintide 2 also had a prestige system that allowed you to continue getting XP for that sweet dopamine hit of just watching a bar fill up. In Darktide, you don't have any sort of prestige system, and you have a really slim chance of getting post-match loot, which may or may not be good. So this game also suffers from a lack of boss variety. In Vermintide 2, there are multiple memorable bosses that had a good build-up with the act system, where you had a variety of levels to get through before you fought the big cheese. One especially memorable boss in Vermintide 2 was Burble Spew Hail Scourge. Although he really wasn't the best boss to fight, I definitely remember him, unlike other bosses in Darktide. Whenever you get to an actual boss encounter, monstrosities not included, you just have to fight a random trader captain with a shield and a bolter or shotgun and a randomly generated name, which feels like a big downgrade compared to the previous game. This game also lacks any story whatsoever, other than doing some random missions, then getting yelled at to gain more trust. I feel like they could have easily strung together a few missions together and called it an act to make it a little bit more coherent, but that's where we'll get to the next issue. The mission selection. If you've ever played Payday 2, the mission selection in Darktide is very reminiscent of CrimeNet. The mission selection screen presents to you a handful of missions, all with varying difficulties and challenges, so you can only play what the game gives you. If you want to play a certain map on with a certain difficulty on it, you're going to have to wait and hope that the mission selection screen presents you with the map that you want and at the desired difficulty. This game also used to have a few mission modifiers beyond high-low intensity engagement zones, like lights out or thick fog, which would literally make the map extremely dark or fill it with a thick fog, making visibility low. So, lack of promised features on launch. Currently, I and a large portion of the audience have issues with this specifically. Promised features like crafting, weapon modding, mission events, and mission weapons have not been shipped on release day. The exclusions of these features were exacerbated due to the fact that after launch, not much of the game changed other than the inclusion of the cash shop, which sell items upwards of $12 or 2,400 Aquila fun bucks, and the addition of a few extra maps. The game has been delayed multiple times and for more than a year with multiple betas, yet it's still shipped with a myriad of issues and a lack of features. Compared to this to Vermintide 2, while although it launched in a similarly poor state as Darktide, it was still more feature complete and had more content by far, with 5 classes with 3 subclasses each and 13 unique maps. Along with the lack of promised features, many people, including myself, are annoyed and disappointed at Fat Shark for the inclusion of the cash shop while not even finishing their game or leaving it in a stable state. The game does not run well and constantly crashes, but they have the balls to ask for more cash on top of the $40 that you've already paid on this game, which is quite frankly a slap to the face to the customers. Nonetheless, some players are spending their cash on cosmetics and rewarding Fat Shark for putting out a buggy, unstable game. Compare this game to Deep Rock Galactic. Deep Rock Galactic is quite similar to Darktide in many ways, as it is also a 4-player co-op shooter with different classes that fill certain niches. The game is feature complete, was stable at launch, and is full of cosmetics that can be earned in-game, and there are a few cosmetic items that can only be purchased with cash, which I've bought in order to support the devs of Deep Rock Galactic. In addition to the inclusion of the cash shop, there's also an added layer of FOMO in Darktide. Fat Shark has included a timer on all items, preying on people's wallets by suggesting that those items may never come back or may be more expensive in the future. They've also got predatory purchasing practices included. You can purchase Aquilas in bundles of $2.50, $5, $10, $20, and $30. A cosmetic bundle in this game currently costs 2,400 Aquilas, and the $10 bundle gives you 2,100. You're gonna have to spend another $2.50 to get 500 Aquilas, which leaves you at 2,600. After you purchase the 2,400 Aquila bundle, you're going to have 200 left in your pocket, but you're going to be 100 short to even buy the cheapest bundle, so that prods you to purchase another $2.50 bundle to round yourself off at 600. But that wouldn't be enough to purchase, say, a hat, which is worth 900 Aquilas. So that's just going to make you want to buy the $5 bundle to get the 1,000 Aquilas. The monetization practices in this game leaves cash in your pocket, which pushes you into buying more things because you're just short of whatever cosmetic item that you wanted, which is a scientifically proven method to get people more inclined to purchase items. Furthermore, Fat Shark intend to release a new class every quarter, which I believe will also be sold for cash. In Vermintide 2, closer to the end of the game's life cycle, Fat Shark started selling 4th classes of every hero for cash, and sold challenges to unlock cosmetics for said class. There's no reason to believe that they wouldn't do that in Darktide. All in all, the core of this game is very good, but it's marred by the performance and stability issues, devs with opaque communication, and a prioritization of monetization over gameplay and functionality. I enjoy this game because if I didn't, I would have refunded it by now. Fat Shark is notorious for releasing buggy products, and Darktide will be coming out of its early access phase in a few months to a year. So until then, I really don't recommend picking up this game until the promised features are put into the game and the performance issues are fixed. Thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.